Folks, it's Richard Joe here, certified CXL optimizer, and today I'm going to be talking about the 5 elements required for a high converting landing page. So, for those new to digital marketing, a landing page is essentially the entry point into your website, and it typically has, like one major goal, which is really just to collect leads or make a sale. However, it can also be your homepage. So a fully scoped website can also have a homepage, which is also acting as a landing page. So just remember that it's generally speaking the entry point into a website, and think of it as pretty much like a digital salesperson helping to guide that user from going from a query on Google or seeing an ad or whatever. They click the ad, or they see the search result on Google. They click on that, and then they go to a landing page. And like I said, it can be just a single dedicated page without any nav, or can be like, say, for instance, the home page or a product detail page, say on an e-commerce website. So what I'm going to show you for the next few minutes is the 5 elements of a high converting landing page with actual examples. So let's just go through the 5 examples. So the first example that I'll show you is actually on MailChimp. And MailChimp's basically an email newsletter type website, and it's been around for like over 20 years. It's actually, a really good example of a good website here. So what we have is the first element I want to cover is actually a clear and compelling headline. So we can see that a headline, convert more with automations, is used here. So with a headline, it's got to be something that's attention grabbing, and it's like a hook, because you've got to imagine the users coming from a Facebook ad or Google ad or search result or whatever, and they're sort of that initial click is that curiosity. So that's got to be matched by something that's got to hook them on that as soon as they see your landing page. Otherwise, if it's not really hooking them and gaining attention and attracting them to want to engage with your page and scroll down and figure out like what the heck your website's about, then they're just going to go bounce off your website and go somewhere else. So it's also got to communicate the value prop really quickly. So like I said, MailChimp's it used to be newsletters, but it's also automations and general email marketing. So they're obviously pushing the automation part of their business here. So on the headline here, we have convert more with automations, and then you'll also typically have a subheader, which is basically supporting the header. So their subheading here is, we're the number 1 email marketing and automations platform. That means marketing and sales tools to help you win more new and repeat customers, and then sign up for free. So they give you the value prop of what they do, or obviously this is what they're pushing right now, and then they back it up. This backs up this value prop here, saying that the number 1 email marketing and automations platform out there, and then a little kind of CTA at the end here to sign up for free. So yeah, MailChimp.com, check it out. And the next one we're going to look at is to have engaging visuals or a hero image. So that's basically like, the reason why we want engaging visuals is because that helps us sort of convey what the benefit or what the value that the prospect is going to get, because we are visual creatures. We don't just read text and figure it out. We also need to visually see what we're going to receive. And a really good example here is on Tesla.com. So we can see here with Tesla that they've got a really visually striking image here of their Model 3. We can see that here's the headline here's the headline here. It's obviously pushing reduced pricing, but the visual here is also conveying emotion and also lifestyles. We don't just have the cars in a blank studio. We've also got mountains and the scenery, so they're sort of conveying to the audience or the prospects that they could possibly get. They're not just driving a car, but they're also kind of selling the whole lifestyle with it. And in this case, we don't just have one single image on Tesla's website. You can just have a landing page with just one central image above the fold, but with them, they've obviously got several models, and so they're pushing out the Model Y. Here we have it in a metropolitan area here, and new Model Y, and so forth and so forth. So, like I said, it's got to be a compelling sort of visual image, which also sort of kind of like the headline also conveys to the potential customer, this is what you could be driving away with. The other thing is you want a strong and singular call to action, and a call to action is basically tends to be a button which tells the user that they're going to get something out of it. And a good example is on HubSpot.com. So with HubSpot, that's a again similar sort of thing like MailChimp, automations, those kinds of things. What we have is we have a call to action to get a demo. That's the primary button here, or primary call to action, primary CTA. So we can see it's obviously using a bit of, I think it's choice architecture by coloring this in orange. It's telling you that this is the primary CTA. Get a demo, probably because it's a complex product that's probably quite expensive. Supported by a secondary CTA, get started free. So I'm guessing with this one here, we have a primary call to action for people that need to go on the phone and talk to a salesperson to actually explain the benefit of the product. But if you've obviously maybe used it in the past, or you've done your research, they give the option of a secondary CTA to just go and get started with the product straight away without having to talk to sales. So again, primary CTA, secondary CTA, and you want your CTAs to basically guide you to take action on their website. And I think they've got their CTAs. You tend to have the same CTAs throughout the web copy as the user scrolls through the website, because you never know when they might decide to take action below the fold or near the bottom or whatever. The other thing is that the other element, or the fourth element, is social proof or testimonials. And this really comes into play with the psychology of herd mentality. If you go past a restaurant and you see 100 people in that restaurant, you're more than likely to think, well, if 100 people are going there, then it's got to be a good decision, right? Likewise, conversely, if you walk past a restaurant and there's literally 2 people at dinner time, you're probably going to think, well, this is not a good indication that it's a good restaurant. So you're not going to take the risk. So same thing with website. What we have here is Shopify.com, which is one of the biggest e-com websites out there. And with Shopify, what we have is they've got social proof, throughout the whole website, but on their landing page, i.e. the homepage in this instance, what we have here is they don't go hard out on the above the fold, but they as you scroll down, they have a headline for anyone from entrepreneurs to enterprise. They're trying to say that they've got huge wide scale appeal for many different people. And then they have a bit of text here. Millions of merchants of every size have collectively made over, I think that's 1 billion in sales on Shopify. So using numbers really helps us, because that's we're logical creatures. This is probably what you call system 2 effect, where we need a bit of logical rationale to determine if this is a good website. in terms of social proofing. So they've had a bit of social proof here through the text, but also they display it through visuals here. So we've got this one here. This is a specific example. I think we've got a solo, got a text here, headline, get started fast, and then we've got a solo seller, Megan Brekamp, started summer solars teller to sell her organic candles and skincare online and at local farmer markets. So it shows the founder here and an image of a product. And so I guess this is kind of appealing to people like solopreneurs, bootstrappers who want to be able to get something off the ground fast and sell it online, or and also sort of have a hybrid. In this case, it's kind of hybrid, but be able to sell it in a market or whatnot. And then it looks like they're kind of this middle one here. I think this is Gymshark here. Little headline: grow as big as you want. Athleisure brand Gymshark grew from working out of a garage to the global juggernaut it is today, with US 500 million plus in sales annually. So we do have, I think they've been around for maybe 10, 15 years. So they're basically trying to appeal to, the persona who's, they're going from startup to scale up, and showing that this platform's suitable for that. And then they've got one here. This is also another kind of persona where it's raised the bar with the help of Shopify for enterprise. Mattel sells the iconic toys direct to customers around the world. So this is Mattel, and obviously, huge conglomerate. We can see the big office there. So they're basically showing some social proof that this product is suitable from anyone from solopreneur, scale up to full-on corporation. And the next and last example I want to show you is to have a simplified form. So basically, that comes to the concept of friction, and friction is a common blocker to conversion on websites, and common sense tells you that if you can reduce or get rid of the friction in the steps to become a customer, then obviously you're going to get more sales and leads. So with their CTA here, what they do is they have a get started here. Click on that. So we'll click on that, and then you can enter in your work email. So I'll just put a pretend work email here. So let's just go test@gmail.com, and then continue. You can also do single sign-on, but let's just pretend I'm using the single work email or single email. Not a robot. And then we get tells you to check your email for a code. So then you got to put in your 6 digits in here, send your email, and then I think the next screen is basically confirming that your account's been set up. So that is the 5 things you need things you need on a high converting website. That's clear and compelling headline, that's engaging visuals or hero image. The next one is strong calls to action. The 5th one is social proof or testimonials. And last but not least, simplified form or minimal friction. Cool. Thanks a lot for listening, and I'll catch you in the next video.